You're watching local coverage you can count on. This is WANE 15 News Weekend Report.
Police say a bar fight may be what led to a shooting just west of downtown early this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Britt Soleil. Police were called around 2:30 a.m. to the 1200 block of West Main Street. When they got there, they found a man suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. They say he was shot at the intersection of Main and Center Streets. He was taken to a local hospital in stable condition, but when he got there, it was determined his injuries were life-threatening. Witnesses say the shooting started with an argument at Pedal City. Police still trying to piece together exactly what happened. No suspect information has been provided at this point. If you have any information, you're asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. Police also investigating a nearly 5-hour-long standoff situation. Just after 1 o'clock this morning, a man called police saying his stepfather threatened to shoot him. At the scene, police found the stepfather in the front yard, but he ran into the house, refusing to come out for almost 5 hours, also threatening to shoot officers on scene. The man is now in police custody. No one was injured in the incident. The Steuben County Sheriff's Office says driver fatigue may have led to a crash that injured 2 Ohio teens late last night. It happened on US 20 in rural York Township near County Road 935 East. Deputies were called there just before midnight on reports of a car into a tree. The early investigation indicates 19-year-old Cameron Hicks of Edgerton, Ohio, was driving east on US 20 when his 2010 Chevy Malibu left the road for an unknown reason. The car left the south side of the roadway and collided with a tree. Hicks was able to get out of the vehicle, but a teenage passenger was not. Deputies had to extricate her from the car. Both teens taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Deputies believe driver fatigue may have been a factor, but the crash still under investigation.
Now, your first weather from the live Doppler 15 Fury Weather Center.
Well, the clouds have been slow to exit across the area today, but still not a bad day overall. You can see the clouds here on our Bluffton camera. There is still the chance for a stray shower outside tonight that could pop up. Otherwise, Storm Tracker is pretty quiet here this evening overall. So the current temperatures outside right now still pretty mild as well. 80 degrees here in Fort Wayne, 81 in Auburn, 81 in Angola, and 79 degrees. Good evening to you in Warsaw. Here as we head over the next few hours, we'll gradually see this slight rain chance start to diminish by the time we get to later this evening. Expecting partly cloudy skies. Temperatures falling to around 72 at 10 o'clock, then falling into the 60s during the overnight hours. Winds remaining pretty calm as well under those mostly clear skies. Now coming up, we're starting cracking a dry stretch here to start the week here. Yeah, Monday and Tuesday, no rain chances then as high pressure influences our weather here in northeast Indiana and northwest Ohio. Coming up, I have a recap of the weather that happened yesterday, including those cold air funnels and the rain that occurred, as well as looking ahead to this dry stretch. All that coming up in my full forecast a little bit later on. Britt, back to you.
Thanks, Nathan. Reenactors took advantage of that good weather we saw today to give visitors a glimpse of what life was like in Fort Wayne during the Revolutionary War. The East Coast was in open revolt in 1775, but what was happening here on the frontier? Today, the old fort transported families to Post Miami under British control since 1760 to witness what it was like to live in a British trading post, a way to show people what it took for Fort Wayne to get where it is today.
Well, we think it's important for our grandkids to know what it was like back in the 1700s and to see how different our life is now.
The story of Fort Wayne, how it came to be and how it grew.
You can take another trip to Post Miami on August 28th and 29th as the old fort takes you a little before the Revolutionary War to witness French Marine forces of the Crown and Native allies as they wrestle for control of the area. Back in 2021, a little ways down the river at Promenade Park, a yoga class on the historic Wells Street Bridge. Discover Yoga has been holding pop-up yoga classes around the city as they prepare to open their brick-and-mortar location. Owner Chelsea Vona says nature offers a unique, calming element to the practice.
I love doing yoga outside, so nature is really a big, I would say, big therapy for me. So doing yoga in the surrounding nature is really nice, especially doing it on the river and being such a central location to Fort Wayne. It has grown so much. To be able to do this in the heart of the city is such an honor. It's really a lot of fun.
The riverfront is not the only unique spot to try out yoga. Discover Yoga offers weekly classes at Two Toms Brewery and monthly classes at Hop River Brewing and the Lindenwood Nature Preserve. Sticking in Promenade Park, the Riverfront Sunday Heritage Concert Series continues to bring the community together. This afternoon, the crowd enjoyed a performance from the American Legion Band of Fort Wayne. The threat of rain moved the concert from the lawn to under the pavilion, but couldn't put a damper on the show.
We really enjoy the idea of having people come to the park and enjoy the music and kind of in a communal setting. It also exposes people to music that maybe they haven't heard before.
The next concert set for July 25th. A large crowd out at Sweetwater today celebrating the retirement of longtime Snyder music teacher Kevin Cleese. Cleese started his teaching career 40 years ago at Monroe Central near Muncie, then 5 years at Northrop High School before spending the last 33 at Snyder. The surprise party was organized in a Facebook group that has hundreds of Cleese former students, including his own children. His daughter says part of the reason Cleese left such an impact on his students is the type of classroom he ran.
Just the fact that he provided a family atmosphere. For most of us, teenagers are hard to deal with, and he brought us together where we could interact in a safe environment and have fun and play music and really grow as friends.
But it was more than just a surprise party. Those former students pitched in donations totaling around $17,000 to help send Cleese and his wife to the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland next summer, a dream of Cleese since he was a high school student. Coming up, Colton has sports plus ending the stigma of addiction. We'll be back after the break.
Local coverage you can count on continues with Britt Soleil. You're watching WANE 15's Weekend Report.
Families of addicts in Van Wert are working to make the community aware of recovery resources and services in the area. They hosted Rally for Recovery at Fountain Park this afternoon. There were resource booths, fun activities, and several opportunities for people to learn how to administer Narcan. Their hope is to end the stigma that surrounds addiction.
We're trying to celebrate that fact, get more people into recovery, and do our best at just breaking down the stigma in a small community or in Northwest Ohio, Northeast Indiana, about the fact of people in addiction can change.
Recent data from the Ohio Department of Health shows that drug overdoses killed more Ohioans last year than the 14 years before that. They say the COVID-19 pandemic contributed to that increase in substance abuse.
Well, we're seeing slightly humid conditions outside right now, so keep this in mind if you're heading out and about this evening. Coming up, we'll be tracking the MUGGY meter as we get in the day tomorrow, as there is the potential for less humid conditions by the time we get into tomorrow, as well as recapping the rainfall from yesterday in some locations and breaking down the dry conditions on the way here over the next couple of days. Stay tuned, weather is coming up next.
Local coverage you can count on continues with Britt Soleil. You're watching WANE 15's Weekend Report.
If your morning drive involves taking Pontiac or Spring Street, you'll want to find another route. Starting tomorrow, the roundabouts at Pontiac Street and Wayne Trace will be closed. Traffic going in all directions will also be closed at that intersection. This $500,000 project is a part of the Pontiac Street Improvement Plan. Crews will install 3 lighted towers for each roundabout. Shrubs and brush will be removed, and the railroad elevation will be painted. The project should be finished by the beginning of August. Then the Spring Street Bridge will also be closed tomorrow between Leesburg Road and Tyler Avenue. Construction will be in the westbound lanes. There'll be detours from Tyler Avenue to West State to Hillegas to Bass Road. Crews are doing concrete restoration to replace the temporary patching from the water main break earlier this year. The detour should last until Wednesday. Eastbound lanes will be open. And the terminal drive at the Fort Wayne International Airport will be rerouted through short-term parking effective tomorrow. Crews are working on exterior parts of the terminal building. Drop-offs will be done inside short-term parking, pickups at baggage claim. There will be signs for drivers to follow. Anyone waiting for arrivals is encouraged to park in the cell phone lot. The parking lot shuttle will not be running as usual, but will be available on a case-by-case basis.
Local coverage you can count on continues with meteorologist Nathan Gidley's live Doppler 15 Fury forecast.
Well, yesterday was just a wild weather day in some sections of the area yesterday. Take a look here at again, we're seeing those cold air funnels. You can see that here just protruding from the clouds. Thanks to this picture from Kayla Siller from North Manchester. Seeing those dark skies as well. Again, some locations saw some heavy rainfall yesterday, including in KOSCIUSKO County. It was a soaker of a day yesterday with this thunderstorm that worked its way on through. Monaquette, we saw 4.10 inches. Same at Irish Lake as well. Leesburg saw 3.2 inches. Just north of Warsaw as well, you saw 2.44 inches. So really lots of rainfall in these locations led to localized flooding. That was the case in parts of Whitley County as well yesterday. You can really see this on the radar recap yesterday, the thunderstorm that popped up and just stayed there. Let's go ahead and re-rack that here quick. You can see it pops up by the time we get to the afternoon and heading into the evening. We did see that though earlier yesterday, but today things are pretty quiet here overall. You can see that here on Storm Tracker. Not a whole lot here going on, especially good news there in parts of Warsaw. As we span out though, we saw this area of low pressure here located off to the northwest. It's eventually going to move its way a little bit further off to the south. It's going to influence our weather as we get into the day tomorrow, keeping us dry after we've seen these spotty showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the weekend. Seeing the temperatures right now around 80 degrees here in Fort Wayne. The new data here, dew point is 61 degrees, meaning the humidity is a little bit lower outside right now. So some good news if you're heading outside. The Muggy meter gradually starting to drop into the comfortable territory. Temperatures across the rest of the area, we're sitting 80 degrees in Bluffton, 81 in Auburn, and 79. Good evening to you in Angola. So as we head throughout the rest of the night, still that chance for a stray shower, though I expect almost all locations to remain dry as we head throughout this evening, especially by the time we get to around 10 or 11 o'clock. Much of that chance starts to come to an end. Left with mostly clear skies. Then overnight tonight, we'll see these temperatures drop off a bit as well. 62 degrees the low here in Fort Wayne. Those winds coming out of the north at 1 to 5 miles per hour. So as you head throughout the day tomorrow, looking dry because of that high pressure. 67 degrees at 8 a.m., 80 degrees by the time we get to noon, then 84 degrees by 4 o'clock. Feeling seasonable outside and less humid as well throughout the day. A high temperature of 85 degrees here in Fort Wayne, so pretty seasonable temperature levels here overall. And that's really going to be the case here as we head throughout the next 5 days. You can see we're generally around our average high temperature of 84 degrees, dipping a little bit below by the time we get the day on Wednesday, but still overall not a bad forecast here for as we enter into later in July here. So look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. See, we get a little bit warmer on Tuesday with a high of 87 degrees, lots of sunshine then. Humidity levels a little bit higher as well. And we do see a weak cold front that starts to drop its way down from the north by the time we get into Tuesday night and into the day on Wednesday. Could bring a slight rain chance then, dropping the temperatures a bit in the day on Wednesday and bringing less humid conditions as well, as high of 81 degrees then. 86 degrees on Thursday, a chance for a spotty shower or storm out ahead of this system set to arrive by the time we get the day on Friday. And that system lingers into the weekend with continued chances for showers and thunderstorms. That's your forecast. Now here's Britt with more news.
Thanks, Nathan. This weekend's Fort Wayne Region Sports Car Club of America event wrapped up today. Cars raced around the course in the Memorial Coliseum parking lot, competing for the fastest time in their class. The course was designed with a lot of turns to keep cars under control.
This is a nice way to feel the limits of your car and put your car through the paces in a nice, safe, controlled environment so you're not doing it out on the street.
Today's race was one of 10 SCCA events of this year, the next on August 29th. Coming up after the break, Colton, you'll be in with sports, right?
Yeah, that's right, Britt. And hey, speaking of racing, it's a race for $1 million on the line for a local team. Coming up in sports, it's all or nothing for the Fort Wayne Champs. TBT is a basketball tournament where only one team takes home the cash prize of $1 million. As the Champs get ready for round one tonight, we'll give you an inside look.
Local coverage you can count on continues with Colton Howard's Sports Report. Sports coverage you can count on.
Padres put 3 more on the board. 8-4.
A very scary moment in the nation's capital last night. Those sounds you just heard, the sounds of gunshots right outside of the Nationals Park heading into the bottom of the 6th in the Padres and Nationals game. At the time, no one knowing if the shots had came from inside of the stadium or out, but former Tin Cap and Padres All-Star Fernando Tatis Jr. putting his own safety on the line for others. As first reported by the Associated Press, Tatis bolting from the bench down the left field line to help open a gate to the stands and started to move whoever he could into the dugout for shelter. Tati saying, quote, "Our family, loved ones, little kids, I felt like someone needed to go out and get them." The shortstop going on to say, quote, "There's no longer players and fans. I feel like everybody's just people, human beings trying to be secure." That shooting happening outside of the stadium between two vehicles, leaving 3 injured, all non-life-threatening injuries. Police say there was no connection to the game or the stadium. The game was finished today as part of a doubleheader. Moving on, what would you do for $1 million? What if all you had to do was win a basketball tournament? Well, that's the scenario for the basketball tournament, a winner-takes-all event worth $1 million. The Fort Wayne champs shooting their shot at the cash money once again. The team's been getting ready from the Ash Center. Champs will be the 9th seeded in the TBT West Virginia region. They play the primetime players in the first round tonight at 7. Historically, this team's been made up of former Mad Ants, and this year, former Ants coach Steve Gansey will be on the sideline. One-time Ant Ramon Harris and Steph Hicks will be 2 of the veteran leaders on this team. And among the other guys suiting up, ex-IU player Devin Davis, former Ball State star Taylor Persons, and Fort Wayne native Travion Cruz. A Northside grad, Cruz was an All-American at Bethel University.
It means a lot. It means a lot just because, I'm the only Fort Wayne guy to represent the Fort Wayne champs. So, that in itself means a lot. But like you said, just to play on a different level than the NAIA level or another semi-pro level, it's just way better. So it feels good.
What do you think fans who watched you at IU will see now or notice about you now as a player as opposed to what they saw when you were in Bloomington?
I'm a whole different player. Yeah. Period. I'm a whole different player. I got different confidence. I'm really just feel like I'm a more mature person, so it's just different for different Devins.
The Fort Wayne champs are scheduled to play the primetime players at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll have highlights. And we round out our coverage at the final round of the 149th Open Championship. Now, heading into the championship day of play, the top of the leaderboard was neck and neck. But Colin Morikawa, at 24 years old, always calm, cool, and collected, coming in just a stroke behind the top spot. And he'd get it early, too. Morikawa birdieing on the 7th hole and set the pace the entire way. He almost closes it out right here on hole 18 with this almost rim cup shot. It was so close, but despite a late round comeback from Jordan Spieth, Morikawa closing it out 2 strokes ahead for his 2nd major title, becoming the first golfer to win 2 majors in his event debuts. Wow.
Wow, that sounds exciting. I don't know anything about golf, but
it's very cool. It's very cool. So many possibilities. It's just cool to see him do that. Very similar to Tiger Woods.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Thank you, Colton.
Thank you.
And we'll have one last look at your forecast after the break. Hey, check this out. Check out this story from Dyer, Indiana. Firefighters and police officers on a rescue mission yesterday after 7 ducklings fell down a drain. This happened at a pond in one of Dyer's parks. Dyer Public Works joined the emergency departments in rescuing them with a net. All 7 ducklings were reunited with their mama duck. The fire department saying it's a great example of birds of a feather flocking together to help the community. That is adorable. Tiny animals are always cute, but especially when you see people saving them, I feel like it's just an extra little bit of cuteness. You know what I mean?
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Do you like ducks?
I used to always feed them when we went to Triangle Park. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. We had a frog in front of the WANE station last night or the night before. It was cute. It was cute. Anyways,
all the
weather.
Small animals.
What's coming up in weather?
Well, as we head throughout the rest of the night, still that chance for a spotty shower as we head throughout the rest of the evening. Most locations are going to remain dry, expected mainly all locations to remain dry. We do see these temperatures gradually fall into the 60s then as we head throughout the overnight hours.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Have a good night.